So this is week 8 discussion exercise. I think it's important to view the art of Latina women because any art is part of history and evokes some kind of emotion and tells some kind of story and kind of pinpoints you in a time and place, especially when we're talking about people of color in America or women in America or women of color in America. It's a important story to be told, and the time and place is sometimes disregarded when we talk about Latinas in the U.S. because it's American art. Latinas in the U.S. have a story in America, an important one, and I like the unapologetic scenes of what's her name? Carmen Ramos and her body of work, and like the photographs in her collection about like expressing womanhood and the rawness and just or even of sexuality, and also ideas that are kind of controversial or taboo to talk about, like such as the bloody tampons in the toilet. And I think that is such a important image because, recently this whole idea of like people being more comfortable talking about women's health and women's bodies is a relatively new idea. Like people in television, they used to not say period until like in the 80s or 90s, when it wasn't that like that one actress from Friends said the word period in a tampon commercial for the first time, and it created this huge controversy, which it was like kind of crazy, and it kind of raises the question of like what does it mean in society for us to be so disgusted or kind of embarrassed about our own bodily autonomy and bodily functions, and about just women health in general. Like this is a natural occurring thing, but we can talk about natural occurring things that happen to men so openly, and I think that's a really important thing. And I feel like I always knew that I was a feminist, and I feel like I always knew that there was some sort of like injustice when we talked about whenever I was an 11-year-old getting their period, and my mom would say like I only have brothers, so she used to tell me like don't tell them that this is going on, or kind of like hide evidence and hide your tampons and kind of like pretend like nothing is going on. And I was kind of like, no, what if I want to tell them? What if I want to tell them, hey, I'm feeling like this right now, you know what I mean? Or like, hey, I'm kind of like, can you make me a tea because I'm on my period, or oh I want to share my stories, like oh my stomach hurts because of my period, and therefore like my brothers are more, I feel like, educated in that way, and like they know symptoms, and they know what it is, and it's important because they understand me and they understand the women experience, and that's really important for men as well to understand women experiences, because I feel like they're much more understanding, much more educated all in that format. And I love my brothers, they're super like chill and understanding about stuff like that. So I think it's really like kind of an unapologetic way of saying like, hey, this is my experience, and it's sort of a metaphor for that, for the the pictures of the art, her art that she's portraying here. And it's kind of like this feminist artwork from the 70s and 80s, this was like super controversial. I mean, today we can talk about periods all day long, or at least like generally in media, but I think it's important to talk about how Chicana artists have, you know, had that kind of unapologetic way of expressing oppression in a way that's and discrimination and everything in a way that's pungent, in a way that's powerful, in a way that's confident. And you know, these artworks were I just like went on a rabbit hole when I saw the article of like because they talk about so many things like poverty and discrimination and economic exploitation and racism and sexism, and this is the topics that are important for America, and these are the topics that are in America, and people suffer from these things in America. It's American art, so it's important to know, because also like the second wave of feminism during the 70s and the 80s, and this is, you know, this is American history, so it's kind of like swept under the rug when it comes to stuff like that. And I think it's good to see how, you know, silently but swiftly women are making like a kind of structural way to protest against you know, abuses of women's rights, and or even like also, oh my gosh, the idea of like human trafficking, and the idea of especially Hispanic women and women of color. Trafficking is a huge problem in the US, and they are the main victims, like women of color. So I feel like it's important to also talk about that. And because this is an American problem, and these are American stories.